We're going to start with the latest in the story about the Republic of Ireland being drawn to face Israel in the Nations League and the calls for the FAI to boycott the matches. Well, there's been developments today on that front in a letter written by the FAI and addressed by the FAI President Paul Cook to the members of the FAI General Assembly, who you may remember in November of last year voted to recommend that the FAI request UEFA to ban Israel from playing international competitions. Now, the letter today reiterates the FAI's intention to play Israel in the Games and also states that they intend to fulfil the home match at the Aviva Stadium as scheduled, despite fears about the security implications of that. They say not fulfilling the Games would bring serious consequences and would cause long-term harm to the sporting interests of Irish football. It's quite a detailed letter and a detailed statement. So just to run you through some of the key points, they say it is not a decision that has been taken lightly, that it will acknowledge it will be difficult for members and supporters, but as a member association, they are bound by UEFA's regulations. I mentioned the serious consequences: loss of points, relegation to League C of the Nations League, damage of the ranking for the Euro 2028 qualification, etc. They say that the decision is not financially motivated, but it would have significant financial and regulatory consequences. They do fully appreciate the strength of feeling among members and supporters, but believe they're acting in the best overall interests of Irish football. They have taken into account, they say, security advice from the Gardaí and the government and local authorities. And the advice is at this point is the match can be staged safely at the Aviva Stadium. They acknowledge no one within the association is dismissive of the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, and they intend to use the home fixture as an opportunity to provide tangible support for humanitarian efforts assisting civilians, along the lines perhaps of what Norway did when they played Israel and donated proceeds from the match to Médecins Sans Frontières. They say the mandate that I referred to passed by members last year has not been disregarded, but the decision reflects the board's responsibility to protect the long-term interests of Irish football. Damien, is this the sort of verdict for an association who have weighed up the calls for them to take the costs on board and do the right thing and just decided, in their opinion, those costs for Irish football are too much to bear?
I think so. I think first and foremost, it needs to be highlighted that UEFA have rules, regulations and statutes, and Israel are in clear breach of those. Now, for whatever reason, UEFA have decided not to enact or not to act and not to remove Israel from the competition. So then it falls on us as an association, as a country, do we take a stand? I think if you take a stand, you hope that other people will follow, and then it really has... You know, we've almost superseded UEFA by us making the first step and people to follow us. I don't think there's an appetite for other European countries to follow. Now, people will argue we should do that and see what happens. But if we take that step and we are the Lone Ranger, the full force is going to come down on our association, a struggling association. And with Euro 2028 on the horizon, they say it's not financially motivated, but in reality, you know, the FAI are in financial trouble. And I think the consequences will be huge. But the game is going ahead now. So there's an opportunity for people to demonstrate peacefully. And I say that, highlighting that word, a peaceful demonstration that the game is going ahead and they can make their feelings known. The game is going to be beamed around the world. Everyone's going to see it. You know, if there's 45, 50,000 Irish fans, if the feeling is there should be 45, 50,000 Palestinian flags, tifos, whatever they can do to highlight the fact of their support for the Palestinian and how they're against this fixture taking place. But the powers that be have decided that the game is going to go ahead, and people can peacefully demonstrate and make their feelings known, and I think they will. So, look, the game is going ahead now, and it remains to be seen what happens.
The question, Keith, is, and Damien sort of got into that area, is how can the FAI, if this game is going to go ahead, reflect the really strong feelings of their own assembly? For example, the Professional Footballers Association of Ireland come out today and said the majority of their members want the game boycotted. The general feeling in the country... how can they get the message across? And is there a sense that they have to say, well, if UEFA, punish us for allowing fans to display flags, banners, then maybe that's a cost that they would be prepared to bear or should be prepared to bear?
Yeah, it's such a difficult one, Tommy, because the game going ahead just feels a little bit unpalatable at the minute, and people like Damien, peaceful protest is a way forward, maybe something like that, so everybody can see how just how, I don't know what the right word is, how anxious we are that this game is going ahead, I suppose. And look, I think we can talk about the FAI, we can talk about the Irish government, but this lands on UEFA's doorstep, and the fact that it keeps rumbling on, it's just a little bit crazy to me. But I suppose the decision has been made. It's not one that I think is the right decision, to be honest with you. I understand the financial repercussions. I understand that the Irish clubs in Europe could be under threat. I understand all of that. But you can't only have morals when you're in a position of strength. You should have morals regardless of anything. And for me, that game going ahead doesn't feel quite right.
They should disregard the potential costs that they've iterated in the letter.
I honestly see it from both sides. I know people don't like that sitting on the fence type of approach, but I understand that the Irish clubs in Europe could be hurt. The financial repercussions could really hurt Irish football moving forward. But what's right is right, Tommy, is what's wrong is wrong. And playing that game of football against Israel, to me, feels wrong.
Can I just add as well? Like, we have elected representatives that are in office to represent us. You know, about 6 years in the offing now, the Occupied Territories Bill. You know, I know it's been passed, but it hasn't been enacted yet for whatever reason. I know there's legal reasons around it. But people are expecting the Association of Ireland to be the ones to make this huge leap. It's going to cost a huge detrimental effect on the association. You know, people are not better off, but equally, you know, focusing on the government and saying, why has the Occupied Territories Bill not been enacted? You know, so I think that's a step that people could say that has to...
The government who spokespeople have come out or members of whom have come out this week and said that the Israeli soccer team should not be equated with the Israeli government?
That's difficult, that, you know. I mean, you know, I don't know. I know there was pictures of some of the women's basketball team. Perhaps they were involved with the IDF or things like that as well. So they're Israeli citizens. It's hard to tar all the Israeli citizens with the same brush. It's very, very difficult. They have an extremist government or a right-wing extreme government in situ. So I just think it's more of a symbolic thing. But I think, you know, the Occupied Territories Bill has been in the offing now for, I think, 6 years and hasn't passed yet. Or hasn't been passed into law.
A feeling that the government kind of want this to go away, and that maybe the FAI are just being encouraged to be good boys in this one, in an international sense.
Yeah, I just think that, like, us not playing the game would send a huge message, and it's a massive signal, you know, if we boycott it. But, like, what good would it do in the end? I don't think there's an appetite around Europe for people that would follow suit with us. Now, the argument is we should do it, and perhaps people would follow us.
We need strength in numbers, don't we?
Yeah.
We need to speak to the Austrians and the Kosovo FA and see which way they're going to land on this also.
And ultimately, people have referred to the case back with Yugoslavia in 1999, where the government took the stance. The FAI clearly feel here they can't act on their own, both at home, as you've mentioned, Damien, and in terms of the other European nations. We're going to leave that there.